So I guess that was something that people in the know remembered hearing. Oh God. And we haven't even gotten to him the person. And that's the funny thing. I didn't think Drake was like, I had heard and seen all the really creepy shit he did. And giving him the benefit of the doubt, I just figured because he was just like such a cringe lord and a clout chaser that he would text a 15-year-old girl to have a relationship just so she could say his name on a red carpet. You know what I'm saying? Like that is what my perspective was with a lot of his.
Wait, hold up.
Stuff.
Fantano's calling. Do you fuck with Fantano? Do you know him?
Yeah, I've been texting him back and forth this whole time.
Hold on. He's calling me right now. Hold on one second. Fantano, I'm live with FD Signify right now. If you want to get on a Discord call with us.
Yeah, I'm on Discord now. Just call me.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna add you onto the call.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, hold on. Let's do this. Let's bring Anthony Fantano, internet's busiest music nerd, into the fold. That looks scary as hell, dude.
I played the funeral march, and then I did an intro, and I did a little bit of a eulogy for the boy, and then we played the track, we ran it back, and then I played it a little bit again, gave some thoughts, and now we're here.
Yeah. I think and I'm not putting this on you, Anthony, because I know you're better than me. But I am an OG Drake hater. I'm the anti-academics. I'm an actual academic.
Yeah, no, you've definitely been hating him longer than me.
Yes. Yes, and I hit my power for a while because I didn't like the idea of being known as a Drake hater. I had other shit to say and do, but like it's clearly my moment at the moment. So
that's your time to shine.
I might as well let it be free. I might as well let it go.
You know, I feel like, I mean, I'm sure you've like, and you know, no disrespect to the guy. I love this man with all my heart, but I just find it very funny that you know, in the wider world of YouTube music commentary, when we needed him most, Mike Seatown decided to retire from Dead End Hip Hop. Like, you know, he's an OG Drake hater too, you know, not entirely. He sort of gets, you know, I think he got him kind of early on. But
no, I did too. I was just saying, like, So Far Gone era, on into, you know, that was probably it for me. I didn't like the first record too tough. Take Care is like, I understand that to be an amazing R&B, hip hop like moment. I'm not a huge R&B fan. And then after that is my favorite, which is I always forget the name. Never Was the Same. So, you know, that's my favorite. I think that's everybody's that has good taste favorite. That's not like
it's
an
most people's favorite. My favorite. If you're reading this, is Too Late.
Yeah, that was what I was pretty much.
It's kind of tough Drake. It's kind of tough Drake. I do kind of like the tough Drake.
Yeah, that was it for me. That was when I started being loud and proud with my Drake hate. I was like, all right, he's successful enough.
For me, that was a rare instance of Drake enjoyment. Like up until that point, most people were sort of, I had been classified as a Drake hater pretty early on. Take Care I was underwhelmed by. I didn't even really do a formal review of his first album, I don't think. I think I gave Nothing Was the Same a 5. A lot of his albums kind of range from like 5 and below, 6 and below. You know, honestly, Nevermind has got to be the worst.
As the certified not music listener in this group, I always liked Drake in the sense that, you know, he just makes top 40 hits.
And that is probably why we hated him.
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, I was like, and still am to this day, I'll just be like, yeah, it's Drake. Cool. Like I have no issue whatsoever. I just always personally did not like his behavior in general. I always thought he was corny, but I undeniably it was like, yeah, no, he makes top 40 hits. It's great.
You can't take that away from him. Like if Going Home comes on, I'm not turning it off. If I promise you I like more of his songs than I'm letting go on in the moment. I just can't. I just can't remember yet. Help me out, Anthony. He has good songs.
That's actually a song I will skip if I hear, and not that I hear it played a lot, but if I hear Hotline Bling, I'm going through that. But if I hear energy, got a lot of energy, I'm spinning that. Like I'm spinning energy. No, I don't cringe. Don't cringe it. Don't you cringe at me. Don't you cringe at me.
Isn't that from? Is that from? If you're reading this, is too late.
Yeah. That's also
that was
also also headlines. You're the best. Also great early Drake hits.
Yes.
Also really great Drake
energy
hits.
and started from the bottom is when I planted my flag. When Drake made started from the bottom.
That's when a lot of people did. That's when I think a lot of people started to be like, this guy. It started to go beyond, because most Drake hate up until that point was like, Drake's the type of dude to this or that. You know, here's a picture. Here's a picture.
This officially feels like a eulogy. I feel like we are eulogizing the death of an artist.
I'm dressed for it.
This is crazy.
So I disagree though. Wait.
Let me just finish that thought. I feel like most Drake hate up until that point was mostly in that range, but like when he started with the start from the bottom thing, that's when, in addition to that, there started to grow this narrative of like, he's not portraying himself accurately. Like he's sort of feeding us a narrative here that's obviously like not true. And that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, that's completely true. I want to elaborate on that, but I also don't want to forget what I was about to say, because I think it's actually a more interesting tangent, which is, I don't think this is it for Drake. I think if this L continues to get larger, it will not matter to his core fan base. Drake has all but red pilled himself in the last like 4 or 5 years. Like he is one step away from that, in my opinion. And that type of fan base is immune to taking L's. Like they're immune to.
Nicki Minaj.
I just finished. Woo, I don't agree with that.
Wait, well, really?
No. I'm just not doing that publicly.
Sorry. Okay, my bad. You're on broadcast of a certified enemy of the barbs. I can't go to a Sephora ever for the rest of my life. I'm barred. They will kill me.
Like before I got on, like I'm walking in the house and like I was just scrolling Twitter to see what people were saying, because I didn't get a chance to hear it immediately because I was fucking eating. I was like, it was a dinner date tonight, and like Tano texted me. I'm like, I'm eating. Holy shit! And I just wanted to go to the bathroom. Like I'm just gonna go to the bathroom and listen. Instead, I just put the phone on my fucking.
You were one of the first people I texted. You're one of the first people I sent a text to.
And so, but I watched Academics, and Academics is not listening to the song, not reacting to the song. He's strategizing for Drake with this.
Yes.
He's literally strategizing, like, what could Drake do?
What's fun? Do you remember this? Do you remember? And I don't know how long you've like been aware of and have been watching Academics.
I am very new to
me and him, have had exchanges over the years. And one thing that I used to remember about him is very early on, like he was a Drake fan, and very loudly and proudly a Drake fan, which I didn't think anything of. Like if he likes the guy's music, he likes the guy's music.
It's probably
but well, the thing is, like, there was a period of time, and I don't know when things shifted, where Drake actually like really kind of kept him at a distance. And if he turned up in like his comments on live or whatever, he'd like chide him a little bit and just kind of be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, get out of here, like, go away. But then there became this point where he like openly embraced him, and he sort of like become his little messenger boy, and is like, oh, tell everyone I'm dropping, get people hyped up, make sure people are excited for this or that. And it's like, I wonder when that kind of shifted, when Drake realized like, I need to sort of like get, these terminally online streamer guys who are basically going to be loyal to me for clout reasons. I need to just basically embrace them and kind of like, use them as kind of a pipeline for positive sentiment toward me.
This probably after reading, because after you're reading This Is Too Late, Drake stops being the musician and the artist, in my opinion. He still makes music, he still makes good stuff, but he becomes this really almost really very interesting kind of curator of taste. I was saying to someone when I got here, like if you accuse Drake of being like a wave hopper, it's a little unfair because he's riding the wave in. Like somehow he knows City Girls are about to move. Somehow he knows the Migos are about to move. Somehow he knows the UK drill is about to move. You know what I'm saying? Like he just is there for it. And then once it happens, he's already there. It happened with him, you know? And so like I think because that starts, you know, that starts kind of at the same time as like of the very weird culture wars era of the internet and alt-right and shit is probably where, and then like this exploitative shit that academics did in Chicago. So he probably saw something that told him that academics was going to have a large platform full of rubes that, you know, are just clout demons that will be useful to have to be bots online and on Twitter for his you know, whatever narrative he wants to spin, to constantly you know, give him the benefit of the doubt and to shout down like obvious L's and to say the guy you argued with last night, I think I saw. I can't remember his name.
Los Pollos.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
I didn't watch
Mr. Drake and Drive himself.
Yeah. I've literally not been able to get through like more than 5 minutes of any of those videos.
He's a special guy.
But yeah, so I think that's when the shift happens, when Drake realized there was value to extract. You know, which is why I'm still like, I'm kind of counting Drake out now. I had it in my mind until last night that Drake was going to win this in the court of public opinion. I didn't know how. I didn't think it would be like a valid win, but I had no doubt in my mind that the court of public opinion would view Drake as the winner just because that's just how these things work, and that's how good Drake is at manufacturing cultural narratives. Now, I don't see how it could be the opposite. It couldn't be the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, the timing, in my opinion, the timing, the delivery mechanism, the fact that he called the shot ahead of time with not one but 2 diss tracks, and then basically even the expansion of the Maybach gloves all the way to the original like photo, which I feel like is going to expand even further. I don't know what the hell is going to happen in the album cover with like the next disc is going to have an even larger cover, I feel like, and then it's going to be, I don't know what the fuck they're going to show, but all of that is very calculated, and he even said that Drake was very predictable ahead of time. So I mean, it makes you wonder ruthless.
Like I did a community post, and I was like, I kind of can't look at Kendrick the same anymore, because this is like anime level villain diabolicalness in terms of like, how long has he had this shit on Drake? He didn't get those. He didn't take that picture in the last 2 weeks.
It had right? The Drake writers. Yeah, it had the Drake writers literally doing Drake-anon. Like they're doing their own version of QAnon, but for Drake. Like, oh, there's actually a secret bait, actually, and like that secret bait is the one who told Kenny to call him a pedophile. Like, and you know that he has a secret daughter or something. Crazy.
I'm going to, you know, play a little devil's advocate with the point that you're making earlier in terms of like whether or not Drake is done as a result of all of this. And I feel like Kendrick isn't just attacking him, especially on this new track, in a way that just kind of affects him personally. As he's been going deeper into this, he's been sort of like expanding his focus and sort of making this not just about how Drake is a morally reprehensible person in his own mind. Like, he's been using this material to warn people to stay away from him, either because he's just a bad look, he's a danger to minors, or because he's a culture vulture. And I feel like he really kind of rode on that point harder on this track than he has on anyone so far. And I think the reason for that is because this is the catchiest of all the tracks so far. He wants people to be dancing and repeating this track over and over and over and getting that message buried into their heads on this track. And look, I mean, I'll forever never be surprised when it comes to the internet, especially Drake fans. The internet's collective ability to remember shit. Like, you know, shit will happen and then all of a sudden it's in the fucking memory hole and nobody remembers. But Kendrick was mentioning artists by name, one after another, that he personally sees like that Drake got sauce from, you know, and the next artist, be it one of those he mentioned, or especially if it's one from Atlanta, or another one in the future that decides to do the same thing, that actually needs the approval of the hip hop community in the way that Drake doesn't.
Right.
In the way that Drake doesn't, because Drake can do whatever he wants without, you know, without needing to appeal to the hip hop community necessarily. But you know, if artists are crossing over to meet with him, and it ends up being a bad look for them afterwards, that could. And look, there's a number of different ways that Drake appeals to people, but that could at least like kneecap him in one way, because I think Kendrick does make an accurate assessment that like part of Drake's lifeblood is his ability to glom on other artists into certain trends. You know, and if through tracks like this, and maybe even further tracks into the future, if he affects Drake's ability to continue doing that, because he sort of robs him of that, because maybe there are less artists who are willing to collaborate, maybe there are less producers who are willing to collaborate because they're afraid of like being associated with him, at least for a time, because it's kind of embarrassing, and Drake can't keep his momentum up on the next record or the record after that or whatever, he could do some long-term damage. It could do some long-term damage.
He's attacking not just his character, but his clout. And Drake's clout has been a key ingredient since Nothing Was the Same is such a cryptic name for an album.
And as he said on, you know, a couple of bars as well, that clout extends outside of music too. He's literally warning LeBron by name, like, right, stay away, keep the children away.
Keep the children away.
Like, he's like trying to cut off his ability to get eyes and get access to people on all fronts, not even just in music.
Next time he goes to insert team game here and wears their jersey, it's not going to be this type of it's not going to be like the same
celebration.
It's going to be like oh, there he is. Yeah, that's so that, and I think we do have synergy there, because I'm just more, I just have so little hope for how the internet responds and the internet's memory. And I know Drake has an army of literal bots, like legit been exposed, mechanical machine learning entities on Twitter, and then like human versions of the same thing.
Right.
And also, like, the thing that I've always been fair with Drake is that he is super talented when he wants to be. And that is just one question I asked you, Anthony, because like it hit me. Somebody said it hit me. He did 3 albums last year, and you don't remember hardly any of them. And that's like,
because I think it's because of his gambling addiction. I have been a long
I didn't
time.
even know about that.
I have been a long time, because he's on stake, right? And those guys fucking hate me.
He's a sponsorship with them.
Yeah. So I've been paying attention to the moves that Drake has been making for some time now, and have talked about this extensively, that he got a stake partnership, like a pretty sizable partnership with an online crypto casino. Famously, it used to be very poppin' on this platform on Twitch, and then some people petitioned and advocated to the harms, to like talk about the harms that it represents for children, because it's like unrestricted, unregulated crypto gambling. And then because of the actions of some people, I will not mention who those people are, it got kicked off of Twitch, only for them to create Kick, which I'm sure you've heard of, only being mentioned in the worst ways possible online. They created their own website, basically. Drake streams on it. And for some time now, I've always said, like, he's pumping out albums like he has gambling debt. Like, he's doing, have you heard of, like, Bruno Mars apparently, like, has a massive problem and, like, has to perform at MGM, like, almost every night. And he's, like, still, even with the millions of dollars that he's getting, he's just, like, still not able to keep up with his addiction. I feel like Drake is in a similar boat.
I would add to that, and you know, I can't speak to any gambling Drake is doing, but like, I mean, I see a bit of a broader, just music-based trend here as well, because you know the shots that him and Kendrick are kind of throwing at each other back and forth cause me to go back and look at like some of the public postings that there have been for you know, Drake's album deals and his most recent ones, and the way that they're set up. With like we're talking like multi-$100 million guarantees for like a certain number of albums, like guaranteed. like just incentive wise, there's no
Don't
real
ever
like
count me out.
what I want to say would be like a quality barrier or an expectation of reaching a certain level of quality or accessibility in order to get that money when you hand in the record. Like that's set up in such a way where you can hand in fucking anything. You can hand in a playlist, and you get that money. You know, you can hand in a fucking album where you're doing nothing but like just vocally riffing with auto-tune over dance beats for 10, 12, 13 tracks and not even bother to write fucking lyrics for the record. And you get that money. Like that's not set up for artistic quality. That's just basically a money printing machine. You know, you hand in a shit mediocre album and you get the cash. Like that's going to create a wildly inconsistent discography where you're not really putting in the effort behind the record that you might if you knew, like, man, this album's going to make or break me. You know, like the amount of money he's going to make off those albums.
He's going to give us a dark fantasy now.
Right. Like, and that's the thing. Like Kanye's fucking reputation is on the fucking skids after 808s and Heartbreak. Like, it is, as much as people love that record, and you know, it's obviously gained a lot of critical acclaim now, but especially because Drake loves that album, and you know that record's influence is still in the music today. Like, Kanye was on the fucking skids after that record. Like, he had a make or break moment, and that album came out of him as a result. And Drake is just at this point where he's just too big to fail. And again, the record company is just printing him money every single time he's using a project, regardless of quality. And yeah, you know, it's like maybe if that combines with some kind of gambling issue and he needs the money sooner rather than later, he's going to just hand in whatever, you know? So yeah, I think when you actually look at the guy's deal, and a lot of artists' deals are kind of set up this way these days, especially if labels think that they can kind of like pull a lot of money out of their pocket long term. However, a lot of these deals, these multi-record deals, you know, and you know, guys like NBA YoungBoy have been kind of like muscled into these agreements where they can, you know, it's for a certain amount of albums, but you can only put out so many albums over a certain amount of time, but you got to keep the pipe up, so you end up putting out all these mixtapes on the side, and you got to be prolific as possible, and you're on a fucking treadmill to keep up. Like, most of these deals are not as lucrative as the one Drake's been handed. The one Drake has been handed is obviously not going to incentivize him to put out records that are going to last long, and that people are going to keep spinning into the future. You know, it just takes up more time, it takes up more resources, and frankly, considering the way things are currently working with Drake and streaming and so on and so forth, it may just be in his best interest that when he comes out with that record every year and a half, every 2 years, that people have mostly forgot the last one so that they're ready to just embrace the new one, you know? So yeah, I think financially he's just pretty much set up to not be making his best work at this point.
It's almost like when you think about the way you think about Drake's albums, I don't think I wouldn't look them up. So the last 4 albums, we got Scorpion in 2018, Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Nevermind, For All the Dogs, and in between that, you got, like, I think at least one Future collaborative album and a 21 Savage joint.
21 Savage collab.
Yeah.
One a Savage collab. No, so where's the one with Future? What is that one? I don't see that. That's the one.
What Time to Be Alive was a little earlier than that.
Was it? Oh yeah, it's 2015. I think that was anyway. But like those albums I just named, that's a steady decline. A precipitous steady decline. Even by like normie Drake fan, not his hardcore stans, but like people that like Drake will probably tell you after views there's a clear decline in quality, right? And nobody he doesn't get stuck with that narrative versus you look at Kendrick and Mr. Morale. I know me and you both love that one. There's a lot of people that don't like it as much. I get why, but like that's looked at as this like huge like blemish on his record because he's only put out major like purposeful projects. Yeah, at least up until now, because I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, a mid album from Kendrick or an album that Kendrick drops that not everybody is behind seems like, you know, a little like almost like a bigger L than it actually is because you're so used to the high quality level that he drops every time. And you know, I agree with you. I think Mr. Morale is great. I just don't think like the way that record is set up, it's obviously not made to appeal super wide commercially in the way that Damon does. You know, and Damn is far from my favorite Kendrick project. It might actually be my least favorite. You know, but that's just my personal preference. You know, I still recognize that album serves a certain purpose in his catalog, and it functions. You know, like obviously it's one of his most major commercial successes for a reason.
I love Damn. I don't know if it makes sense for me to say I have a least favorite Kendrick album outside of Section 80, which is like, you know, that's like he even calls it himself.
Thank you, Sean the Bro. All raid. Hope you had a good stream, brother.
Fucking
Secured the lead.
come on, it's getting late. I'm about to get off with the shoe, guys. I can't remember shit. Untitled Unmasked.
Yeah, no, I love that one too. But it's funny what you say about Section 80, because like when a lot of people were talking about like, you know, whether or not Kendrick is giving rappers Drake, and you know, like that came out and this whole debate sort of erupted, I was like, do people not remember like XXL Freshman Kendrick, like Cypher Kendrick? Do people not remember Rigor Mortis Kendrick? Like he was coming out of the gate rapping like he was on fucking fire. You know, and it was life or death.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting, like, to switch out from clowning Drake for a second and eulogizing him. This is a interesting moment for Kendrick, because nobody's ever done anything like this, and I thought that this is a possible outcome. I guess I'd maybe underplayed it because I wouldn't have this is what I would have wanted. Maybe not as much last night's project song. I don't know if I really wanted that, but like him kind of like really like dominating Drake and like doing it through the traditional like planes of hip hop like value systems and standards. But if you go back to Kendrick, I remember that XXL freestyle, and I didn't know who he was. I don't remember who else was on that with him, but I remember it getting to him.
You know who else was on it with him? Kendrick. I don't know if I remember all of them. Kendrick, fucking Yellow Wolf. Yellow Wolf was on there. Fucking Lil B. Lil B was on there. And you know what was actually kind of legendary about that freestyle is Lil B actually kind of tried to the point where there was even a shot of there's a classic shot of Kendrick in that cipher where even he's like I've you could tell he heard Lil B before, and when he actually started fucking spitting, he was like kind of surprised that like Lil B was like holding his own in the cipher. It's a hilarious fucking clip.
But it's so clear from that cipher, and this is a theme throughout Kendrick's career, that he wanted to make sure there was no question he was better than everybody else there. Like he wanted it to be blatantly obvious that no one else was competing with him in this rap thing when he got his turn on the cipher. And I remember thinking that. I was like, this dude's way better than any motherfucker I've ever heard in these ciphers. And then, you know, he starts his career with a bang, then another bang.
And then Sci-Hi the Prince was on that too. Shout out to him.
Oh wow, yeah. We'll come back to that. Well, we're not. I'm about to get off this motherfucker.
Sorry, check.
No, keep going. I gotta pee real quick. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, keep going.
Hurry up, because I was up till fucking 3 last night, and I don't know how y'all do it.
I was until that time too.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. But and then you fast forward to Control, right? So he releases 2 critically acclaimed albums. He takes the crown. It's, you know, but at that time, my argument from my video is that like the crown, he has to like share it. He's like forced to share the crown with Drake. And so Control happens. And this is why initially I didn't think much of this when like that happened. I was like, this was cute, but he's done this before. He wants people to know he's the best. He wants to remind people. He pops up every 6 months on a Baby Keem song or a Taylor Swift song, you know? And like, yeah, that's Kendrick in a nutshell. And so like when he did that on Control, and like, it's not a diss track, it was a challenge that people like came like, you know, it's like, okay, you got a couple, I think you got Big Crit, Lupe, probably some other people who I can't remember. Those are my favorite artists from the.
He mentioned Mac Miller in there too. I think he mentioned ASAP as well.
Yeah, but I think Crit, did Mac Miller respond?
Big Sean gets mentioned too.
Yeah, and so like that is, but I bring Control up because Control is like the same ethos. I don't want anybody to when I'm done being in the spotlight. And Kendrick Lamar says, when I'm done being in the spotlight, I don't want there to be any debate on who was the top rapper of my era. Right. And up until last night, he had not really accomplished that. He accomplished that within the realm of like the culture. Nobody that's a true you go on, I don't want to say true hip hop fan because I don't really believe in that term, but like nobody who is in any way connected to a tastemaker or a student or a deep in the culture of hip hop would ever put Drake over Kendrick. But as a whole, this is debatable because Drake is a bigger star and has been a bigger star. So this Machiavellian ruse that he did on Like That has brought us to this moment where he has been able to, as you just pointed out, in numerous ways. That's another thing. We have we have Like That, which is a banger. We get to Euphoria, which is Kendrick in his truest Kendrick bag. Multiple beat switches, 7 different flows, 5 different voices. We get 616, which is another version of Kendrick's bag. Then we get him showing why he's the best writer in the history of hip hop, where he gives us this like horrifying, haunting song that made everybody like the fucking montages of everybody reacting to hearing that song are gonna be with us forever. They're gonna be with us forever. And then he wake up. Then tonight he gives us a club banger. So it's like, no, do not mistake me for anyone else when I'm done, when I'm gone. That is what this is about from a Kendrick perspective. I fucking love it. It makes me happy. And
yeah, I mean, in that respect, in that sense, like Drake, you know, while obviously Kendrick has personal issues with him, simultaneously. And this is sort of like, you know, I think also pretty sad and unfortunate for him. He's almost just kind of filling a void and just serving a purpose. Like, there's a possibility that Kendrick would have acted this way regardless of who that #1 commercial crossover guy was, and was just like, I'm going to basically, build a blueprint. I'm going to build a bomb to destroy this guy to prove that I'm actually #1, regardless of what the numbers say, you know? Yeah.
And it just so happened to be Aubrey Drake Graham. I'm gonna pop out, y'all.
He's a perfect villain though, because he's like in many ways the moral opposite, in at least the way that like Kendrick Lamar carries himself and the way that he talks about issues. He is like the perfect villain to do it. And I think that he's in a little bit in a way utilizing the hype around Drake as well as the hatred that he has cultivated over the course of his many years in the industry.
He's sending a message to the part of hip hop that Drake brought with him. You know what I'm saying? Like that. It's. I don't even know if it's a middle finger as much as it is a, like, we're setting a new standard. Feel free to like get engaged with it, or like, we don't care. Your opinions are no longer valid. You all had a lot of sway for the last 15 years in what hip hop was and meant. And that time is up as I parade the carcass of your avatar across the internet with five plus 5 more songs of Drake hate. Right. This is the new Kendrick album. It's 15 songs of why Drake sucks. I'm out of here, guys.
Thank you, FD, so much for coming on. FD Signifier, everybody in the chat. We'll spam his link. I am not as invested in the music part of this entire process.
Honestly, you're not even alone in that. So, like, is there anything still at this point that you're like curious about, or are you sort of like wondering about this whole situation that you feel like
on the drama front? Have you seen the
drama front, but like, what's the vibe? Why is this happening? Like, or anything. I guess, is there anything that you feel like you're still kind of like wondering about at this point vis-a-vis this whole this whole back and forth?
I wonder how Drake is going to respond to this, if he responds to it at all. I feel like the most Drake thing to do here would be just like try to sue him for libel or something.
Right. The thing is, like, up until this point, Drake has been just a master of controlling the narrative because historically he's just very good at kind of following trends. He and his team are very online. as I was kind of saying earlier, he's been great about sort of like, you know, keeping guys like DJ Academics like very close to him so that he can, you know, essentially, you know, use him to sort of like, you know, soften criticism against him. And, you know, he just plays social media channels very well. But I feel like through this, Kendrick out-Draked Drake. He has not allowed him to control the narrative for like even a second since he released Euphoria. Like since he released Euphoria, the track has gone crazy. The fact that it's not a super accessible track worked almost in his favor, because that caused people to listen to the song over and over and over and over, and that created more discussion around the track. You know, the thing is, while Drake's tracks are catchy and they're very direct and they're very to the point, and I think Push Ups was a decent response given that he had a lot of people to respond to. Like, people weren't replaying that track in the way that provably they were playing Euphoria, given that it's now currently the #1 hip hop song as far as streams go of the year.
Yeah,
and we're not even at the halfway point of the year yet.
And I think that's a way of out-Draking Drake in a way that actually matters, because like he always has. What does he have?
Really out-Draking was that the moment that he went to take the narrative back, he just dropped the other track.
Yeah,
he dropped the other track. So he divided focus,
and he's outstreaming him, which I think is like the biggest fuck you, because
biggest embarrassment. It's the biggest fucking embarrassment.
Because he has nothing. If he doesn't have the money, and he doesn't have, which obviously doesn't matter all that much. Like, it will matter if he's like talking to Rick Ross, but I don't think it matters as much when he's talking to Kendrick Lamar. It doesn't hit the same when he's like, "Oh, your house is shitty," right?
Right.
Like, because he's not a flexer in that regard. So I feel like the one thing that he could say is that as an artist, he's more popular. And right now, that's not the case. So I think that, and the other thing that he could potentially say is, for all of the Drake writers, he makes music specifically as like club hits. He makes top 40 hits that people love to listen to, that people can always listen to over and over again. And his music is not quote unquote boring or whatever. And now with this latest track, Not Like Us, I feel like he also is saying fuck you to that as well. So I don't even know where he can go from here as far as like what else he has in his arsenal. I guess the question I have is about the allegations. I heard you talk to Los Pollos a little bit, and I do agree with you. I think Kendrick has more of a cultural cachet, and therefore like slander against him, if proven true, will hurt more than against Drake, because like everybody knows Drake is corny and people don't give a shit, right? Like, he is more, Kendrick Lamar is more like he has designed himself as a person that is is flawed as an individual, but like still trying to do good, whereas like nobody gives a shit about Drake being a good person. Like,
yeah, he doesn't sell himself that way.
Yeah, like the fact that he might have a second child is not going to be as harmful to Drake's career as, or even like maybe not the pedophilia accusations, but like that he's like weird with minors and weird with teenagers. Like, people have known that for some time now, and yet they don't care. So this man is like, DJ Academics is showing his email right now on stream. This entire time while you guys were talking, I've been watching DJ Academics. I don't even know. He just is all DoorDash, bro. Hold on, I'm gonna share the screen so you can see it too. 1 second.
While you're doing that, you know, Kendrick is also kind of like, you know, broadly going after his team as well. Yeah. Mentioning members of his team for sort of like being in on that as well. And, you know, I have no doubt in my mind. I was telling a friend of mine this like earlier today. Like, if Drake, and a lot of people have, you know, sort of like cited the fact that like, you know, Drake kind of came out immediately and said, well, actually, I don't have it there. If he does, you would think that would be pretty like easily and quickly disproven. However, like, if I'm Drake, okay, and Drake is a pretty smart guy. If I'm Drake, and what happened to me with Pusha T happened, considering the context of what Kendrick said, like, oh, you have a second child who's actually older than the child that we know about.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm Drake, and who knows how many, I'm not going to presume he has a million baby mamas, but you know, if they do exist, and I'm sure he knows that they do if they do. Like, I'm going to them immediately, and I'm NDAing, I am severance packaging, I am golden parachuting to make sure that no information comes out about this. And if you do leak it to anybody, like, obviously, like, you know, you're done. I mean, you know, maybe there could be child support pursuits after that, but given that he officially resides in Canada, I don't know how the hell that could potentially work. Either way, I'm immediately going to those people and I'm making sure, using everything in my power, that they don't say anything. Like, he'd be foolish not to. So if he does in fact have a kid, that may actually sort of, like, you know, play into why he would be as brazen to hop online and say, well, I actually don't have it, because he knows nobody's going to hop on and be like, actually, he was tired, you know, like, and on top of that,
that was an awful way to respond to that, by the way, in my opinion, what Drake did. The Instagram story of, like, I'm just laughing, lol, come on. Oh, wow, they're...
And personally, like, I don't necessarily think it's the worst move, even for the kid. At the end of the day, if Drake did in fact do that, it's maybe even a little admirable on some level, because Adonis, you know, due to the beef with Pusha T, like, he really had no choice other than to be in the public eye. Like that kid was literally outed to the world. You know, in the midst of one of the hottest hip-hop beefs, if not the hottest of the 2010s.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And, you know, if Drake did actually do his due diligence and make sure there were better agreements between him and people he did maybe happen to have a child with at some point, it's probably better for their sake that maybe is possibly the case, because you don't want your second child doxxed, you know, or your third or your fourth or whatever. What is I don't see this thing. What is this thing that we're looking at?
Oh no, this is just not like us. I flipped it because DJ Academics was serving his ads at the top of the hour, serving his fucking ugly ass merch. He was showcasing his merch on his broadcast. So I was like, nope. And I clicked away.
Someone's saying
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
So I don't talk a lot on the mic just because my voice is terrible.
Inside the perimeter.
But I'm just gonna, you know, I'll tell you what. Just something on my mind. I mean, I'm gonna continue to read about the different weapons in this game, or watch videos like the ones that Exclusive Ace puts out, because, you know, they're still useful. But I'm gonna be honest, like, whether or not a gun is good in this game is 100% subjective, because I believe that Ace put out a video today saying that this gun was, I haven't watched it yet. You know, I'm going to watch it now. But I like this gun, and I don't think he did. And I want to find out why. He says it's pretty bad. I disagree. I think it's good. I want to see what he says.
What's up, guys? My name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats, as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering the brand new, or I guess returning, BAL-27. And starting it off, as always, let's get into our damage profile. And with this gun, it's actually always going to be a 5-shot kill at any range, as long as you're hitting the upper torso and arms.
Is that true? I feel like I'm getting kills faster than that. Honestly, Okay, no, I'm listening.
And the only time it will drop off to a 6-shot kill is in the minimum damage range at really long ranges if you're not hitting the upper torso or arms. Additionally, just like with the MCW, we don't deal any extra damage to the head. We deal the same amount of damage to the head as we do to the upper torso and arms, so headshots are literally useless. After that, let's get into our rate of fire, and the rate of fire with this gun is quite interesting, and keep in mind I did this through hand testing, so these won't necessarily be 100% perfect values, but I at least got a pretty solid approximation of what's going on here with frame-by-frame testing, and it appears for the first 5 shots that you fire, you start at roughly 700 rounds per minute, and then throughout those 5 shots, it ramps up to 852 rounds per minute. So it's not like the first 5 shots fire at one fire rate and then it suddenly steps up to the next fire rate. It is a ramp up from the first shot that you fire, and then every shot after those 5 or so shots that you fire will be firing at 852 rounds per minute, which is significantly faster than the advanced stats will tell you with this gun. And what this means for our time to kill potential, assuming we're talking about those first 5 shots that you fire, assuming every single one of those hits, we're looking at a 5-shot time to kill potential at roughly 334 milliseconds, which is fairly slow for an assault rifle in this game in close quarters engagements. And honestly, it's not a very competitive time to kill at all. And then I also wanted to show you, just in case you do drop off to that 6-shot kill, it will take you 400 milliseconds to kill. Also, since there is a ramp up in your rate of fire, if you happen to already be shooting at a different target and then you transition onto another target without releasing the trigger, you will end up getting a faster time to kill in those cases, but that's a pretty rare situation and not the realistic time to kill we should be looking at. In either case, let's get into our ranges, and this is one really impressive part of the BAL. Like I said, you got a 5-shot kill potential at any range, and it's a guaranteed 5-shot kill out to about 56 meters, which is very, very impressive, and honestly, the biggest upside that the MWIII has. It may not compete very well up close, but carrying that time to kill potential out to longer ranges is actually pretty impressive. Also, on top of this, our bullet velocity is very impressive for an assault rifle at 800 meters per second, and for hardcore game modes, this gun's actually a bit of a monster. It's got a guaranteed 1-shot kill anywhere in the body out to 56 meters, and then beyond that, it still has a 1-shot kill potential as long as you're shooting them in the upper torso, arms, or head. Next, when it comes to hipfire, our minimum hipfire spread isn't very good with the MWIII at 4 degrees. However, our maximum hipfire spread is only 5 degrees. So this means while moving and shooting, we've actually got a pretty impressive hipfire spread with the MWIII relative to the other assault rifles at least. I mean, you're still going to get outgunned by SMGs, and your time to kill isn't going to be great, but it's not as bad as it may look when it comes to hipfire. As for recoil, the MWIII does have a pretty high magnitude of vertical recoil. It kicks up quite a bit, and it has a really consistent zigzag as it kicks upward as well. And another thing to point out is the gun kick value is fairly high, so it will have quite a bit of bounce side to side, and that's a stat you typically want to get under control with this gun. And then one last thing to mention here is your initial recoil tends to be pretty good. If you're looking at the first like 6 or 7 shots that you fire, it only kicks upward a little bit, and there's basically no horizontal recoil with those initial shots. So overall, as long as you're getting your kills with those initial shots fired, I consider the MWIII to be fairly accurate, but when you put it side by side with the most comparable gun in the game, which is the MCW, this is significantly less accurate than the MCW is. After that though, let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is pretty average for an assault rifle at 240 milliseconds, and it's a similar story with our sprint to fire time. It's 210 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time and 310 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. And now let's talk about reload a little bit. This is another big downside with the MWIII. It's got quite a slow reload add time at 1.92 seconds. And then finally, when it comes to the base stats of the MWIII, let's have a look at our movement speeds. And across the board, we're above average in the movement speed department. So that is one nice area when it comes to the MWIII. It allows you to get around the map fairly quickly for an assault rifle. And with that, we can now move into some solid attachment setups that I wanted to share for you guys. And the first one I wanted to share is my accuracy build. With this one, we're using the X10 ported 290 muzzle, so we can really get that vertical recoil under control. And a nice bonus here is it helps a ton with our gun kick control, which helps this gun a lot. We're also using the SL Skeletal vertical underbarrel to help even more with vertical recoil while also improving our handling stats. We've got the Jack Glassless optic because we get a bit of firing aim stability improvement there. And while that isn't quantified anywhere, that one does tend to help quite a bit with keeping this gun under control. We also have the Ardent Tac stock, and then finally the 1 milliwatt PEC laser, which is not a visible laser, and this one helps with our aiming stability. And with this, you can see we've got quite an accurate gun on our hands, especially with those initial shots fired. There is very little recoil. It will still zigzag a little bit after that, though. But in general, while using this setup, recoil shouldn't be much of a problem for you. Our aim down sight speed is slowed down a little bit, but it's still respectable at 269 milliseconds. And our sprint out time is just slightly slowed down over the base. So this actually makes this a pretty solid long-range build, and that's really where the MWIII excels. Because like I said earlier, while that time to kill potential isn't great up close, it does stretch out to an infinite range, and at longer ranges, it's actually a pretty solid time to kill. After that, though, let's get into the second build I want to share for you guys, and this is my more all-around stealth build. It's designed for being a lot more aggressive while staying off the radar. And with this, we're using the brand new suppressor, which is the Scratch 20L suppressor, which keeps us off the radar while giving us firing aim stability improvements. And the downside is negligible. It barely touches our aim down sight speed, so it's an...
I feel like we're using different guns. That's not close range potential.
The enemy's taking the lead.
At least within the context of NP.
We've taken the lead. Confirms that one. Standing by. Secure.
Requesting recon flyover. Taking fire.
Excellent choice for this gun. We're once again using that SL skeletal vertical underbarrel and the 1 mW PEC laser. This time we're using the hammer grip for our rear grip to help with our handling stats. And then finally, we're topping that off with the ardent tac stock. And with this one, you can see that the gun is still reasonably accurate for those initial shots that you fire before it starts to zigzag on you. Our aim down sight speed is very, very good for an assault rifle at 189 milliseconds. And our sprint out time is pretty similar at 183 milliseconds. Both of those values are great for an assault rifle. And to top that off, we're able to strafe a little bit faster at 3.3 meters per second. And of course, we are off the radar when firing. So this is a nice all-arounder if you want to be a bit more aggressive. Just keep in mind, though, you will be outclassed in the time to kill department up close compared to most other guns in this game. And then finally, I wanted to share a hipfire and tac stance build with this. Since, like I said earlier, it's actually deceptively good at hipfire due to the fact that the maximum hipfire spread can't really get that bad. So even while sliding, for instance, your hipfire spread is quite tight for an assault rifle. So with this one, we're using the S37C DL breacher device, the Bruin Bastion angle grip, the 1 mW laser box because it's not a visible laser. We also have the Title tac grip, and then finally the 60-round magazine on this. And with this, our aim down sight time isn't great, but that's okay. We're using an attack stance. One big downside with this, though, is our sprint out time is quite slow at 264 milliseconds, so you have to compensate for that with your playstyle. This was unfortunately necessary to get a nice tight tac stance spread, though. But with this, we get a great hipfire spread, especially while moving, and a very solid tac stance spread as well. And that makes this a very viable tac stance build. Now, is it the best tac stance build in the game? No, not even close. But it is very usable in this way, and you can definitely find some success while using this gun in tac stance. And with that, that's going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the MWIII. As for my thoughts on this gun, unfortunately, I think it kind of sucks. I really don't like the MWIII in this game, especially for 6v6 multiplayer, because in the vast majority of ranges and gunfights that you'll find yourself in, you're simply going to be outclassed in the time to kill department. And honestly, I think a little bit of headshot damage could go a long way with this gun. If they could make it so you have to mix even like 2 headshots in with body shots to cut that down to a 4-shot kill in the maximum damage range, and then perhaps drop that maximum damage range down a little bit, I think that would at least make this a lot more viable against the other guns in the game, because as of right now, it just doesn't compete super well in most gunfights. Now, I will give it at least some credit for being quite solid at longer ranges, since that time to kill potential will carry out to longer ranges. But the problem there is typically you're not finding yourself in really long ranges in multiplayer. And then even if you are, you're probably just better off with an MCW, which is significantly more accurate and consistent with that accuracy. So yeah, this gun just doesn't really stand out in any meaningful way, in my opinion. And I was quite disappointed by it, unfortunately. Now, of course, those are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about the MWIII.
To be 100, man. Hold up. Let me get out of here. I don't want to. My response to this video is get good, bro. I hate to say that. That's horrible. But like, I feel like you don't play enough, man. I feel like you try it out in like with bots and you like make the judgment on that. You're not like really trying it out in multiplayer, it feels like, because this is a good gun, man. Like usually the guns that they like new guns that they put out, like to me they always feel like almost overpowered. And like I am ripping up with this gun. I don't like, there's other factors I feel like that aren't being accounted for in your gun guides. I don't know what it is. It might just be me. I love you, Ace. You're great. But every build I've tried of yours, I feel like has been dog water. I hate to say it, man. And I'll continue to watch your videos and I'll continue to hit that like button. Let me do that real quick. But I think you should take a break from reviews and grind the game. Have you done the camel grind? I think you should take a break from reviews, and I think you should grind the game. I think you should go for Interstellar. And then maybe try a review after that. A gun guide, maybe like an overall gun guide. And these individualized gun guides don't feel like, are you playing beside anything besides bots? Or like, because none of this seems like in the context of an actual gunfight. This is all just like, if you're standing alone, like, I don't know, man, because like this gun feels good. And so I don't get it. I don't know. I think the 5-shot potential across the board within the context of these gunfights is pretty good. I don't know, man. I don't know. And like, it doesn't. And who the hell is firing like that? When you show your recoil, like who's just holding their gun and just letting it go? Like no one does that. So just how does it feel when you know, how does it respond to the left thumb stick when you're dealing with, you know what I mean? It's just like no one shoots like that. It's just, I don't know, man. I love you, Ace. I'm not going to stop watching you, but you lost me on this one. Yeah, I feel like the gun guides are, I feel like you need to play the game more. Like, just play it. Stop trying to analyze these guns and just jump into some MP and make videos based on that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm sorry.
I've been actively following the Helldivers 2 situation over the last couple days, kind of just with my fingers crossed, hoping that Sony will change their mind about the awful decision that's tanking the game. But unfortunately, just like my height, it hasn't changed, and now it looks like it's probably too late anyway.
And I was totally just about to download Helldivers 2. I swear. Like, I was looking at Steam this morning. It's so funny.
Even if you started putting like a rabbit's foot up your butthole for some good luck, it looks like it won't matter. Because in the words of a great man, this is democracy manifest. The game has been...
Don't touch my penis!
...been removed from 177 different regions from Steam. So this ship is already sailed here. For those that don't know what's going on, Helldivers 2 is one of the most successful games of 2024, a game that I was personally so excited by and happy with that I made a whole video dedicated to singing its praises and just gushing grannies over it, about how rare it is for a game, especially a game like Helldivers 2, which is a live service game, and that title, live service, has a more negative connotation than the title Reddit mod. And yet Helldivers 2 went on to buck every dog shit trend that the gaming industry has been shoving down people's throats and found immense success. A massive, passionate community, and a huge player base. It's an incredible game, and they do everything right with it in terms of how they deliver new content. It's just so good. It was positioned to just be an extremely popular game that had a very strong community forever, as long as they kept up this momentum. And yet, a couple days ago, from out of nowhere, they were able to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, thanks to Sony, mainly. There was an announcement that all PC players that were playing Helldivers 2 through Steam would now need to link their Steam account to a PSN account in order to continue to have access to the game. Now, this isn't unusual, and a lot of people were quick to point out, like, gamers are just spoiled, they're making a big deal out of nothing. This is a mountain out of a molehill. What a bunch of fucking barnacles here. This is all horseradish. Why are people making an issue out of it? And while they're right that it's easy to link an account and it's not unusual, it's more common than the cold. If you play a game on Steam, sometimes you'll be forced to link to like a Microsoft account or, God forbid, a Ubisoft account. Like, this does happen a lot, but what they're not understanding about this case in particular is when Helldivers 2 launched, you did not have to do that. Now, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty because there were statements on the official page where you should link a PSN account, but they made it optional. Like, you didn't have to, you weren't forced to, which led to plenty of people from a ton of different regions buying Helldivers 2 who do not have access to the PlayStation Network. Thus, they can't link their Steam account to a PSN account, meaning they won't be able to play this game going forward. And now we're reaching the point where we're at today, where it's been removed for 177 different regions on Steam. So it's a massive fucking mess, and it is a headache. Like, there's no reason to tiptoe around this. No one likes having to link their account to other services. It just creates a lot more hoops to jump through. Yes, it's not a huge time investment, but it is a fucking nuisance, especially Sony. Like, they're claiming that the reason behind this is for security. I mean, what a load of hooey. Security, Sony's infrastructure is like the least secure on the planet. I'd rather link my account to a known crypto scammer than link it to the Sony network. They get hacked every couple of years like clockwork. I wouldn't be surprised if hackers started holding their own E3 to make their upcoming announcements on the next Sony hack. It is so frequent, so it's not exactly the most secure place to hold your information. You're probably better off just writing down all your information on a piece of paper, folding it into a paper airplane, and throwing it out the window. It's probably safer that way. Like, it's a ridiculous claim. I think the reason that they want everyone to link their PSN account is because it looks a lot better on their bottom line earnings report when they like go through all of their player counts and whatever. I think that's probably the reason behind it. Of course, I'm not 100% sure why, but they seem to really be adamant about needing these accounts linked, which has completely ruined the reputation of Helldivers 2 because it's made everyone mad. So it's been review bombed to shit. That got straight banished to the shadow realm. It used to have mostly positive reviews, like literally one of the video game industry's darlings. Now it's got negative reviews thanks to this change, and a lot of people are going to lose access to the game that they paid for, which is a problem. Now, there is refunds that are being offered, which a lot of people are taking, and it's just been a disaster for a game that is truly special. Helldivers 2 is such a good game, and it's now been completely tainted forever because of this decision from Sony. A fucking classic Sony L here. So let's dive into a bit more of the weeds. I actually think Ludwig did a great job covering the broad strokes of this, so I'm going to play a couple clips from his video.
To the defense of Helldivers 2, this was on their Steam page since their launch 3 months ago. This is actually my screenshot. It says right here, requires third-party accounts, PlayStation Network supports linking to Steam account. However, they did not enforce it. And if you go to the FAQ on PlayStation's own website, they would say signing into PSN is optional when playing a PlayStation game on PC. They have since changed this FAQ when they made this update today, and that's why people are not happy. Here's another page where it says, do I need a PSN account? You're only as good as your biggest mistake. That's a lesson that I've seen time and time again in the online space. And if you think about different situations you've read or heard about, you'd realize it's probably true. Like with the Watcher YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago, the guys who wanted to paywall all their content, more people probably know about them for that fuck up than for the YouTube content they were making for years. It's no different for like YouTuber apology. Usually you hear about that more than the actual YouTube videos they were making. And also for companies, the same situation holds true. It's also no different for me. I made a mogul mail a week ago, and it was my most disliked mogul mail yet. You don't have to go watch it. I'll recap it for you. Feel free to if you want. I'm not going to take it down. But basically, I made a video about a Twitch screw-up. They had a payment service that unsubscribed thousands of viewers from streamers, I should say, that they like to watch. And I came in from the perspective of a streamer with friends who were impacted by this, other streamers. And I thought, well, this sucks. They're going to lose out on thousands of dollars. It seems really unfair. And then people in the comments pushed back and they said, well, Ludwig, they're losing thousands of dollars, but the viewers who are paying those thousands of dollars are getting them back. And if they truly cared, they would resubscribe. They're not owed that money, and although maybe it sucks for those streamers, ultimately the viewers getting some money back is not a problem. And I think that ultimately is right. I'm coming from the POV, again, of a streamer, of a guy who's friends with the streamers who are affected. And these streamers who are affected aren't millionaires, but ultimately it is not necessarily like they are owed the subscription. They will have to fight for it back. It'd be better if it never happened at all. And I understand I am alone in that I subscribe to a fuck ton of people that I don't necessarily watch all the time. I just like supporting them, and I have that extra cash to do it. So I get it. That was a fuck up. And I think it's so much more impressive how people respond to fuck up than necessarily like not fucking up at all, because that's kind of a hard ask to do. People fuck up. It happens. And we have a situation today where an amazing company who made an amazing game had a fuck up, and they're about as big as their biggest fuck up. Lol, goodbye, Helldivers, types Iron Mouse, and they, if you haven't seen today, got review bombed to hell. 36,000 negative reviews added for Helldivers 2 today. 10% of all reviews since release. Now, why are they getting review bombed? Well, it's because of a change they made to their terms of service anyway. Basically, if you are someone who's played Helldivers 2, you now need to link your PlayStation account, even if you are not playing on PlayStation, even if you're playing on Steam, on PC, like I do. Now, if you don't know the game Helldivers 2, it's a fucking godlike game. There's no other way to put it. It's like one of the best games that has come out in the past year, at least as far as like PvE games. There's no PvP aspect to it, but the PvE it's amazing. The only game I can think of off top that's as good PvE is like Left 4 Dead. It truly is like a rewarding experience. You can play with like a group of 4. I play with my friends. I've put like about 10 hours into the game, and I have a blast. I am dog shit at it, but I have a blast spreading democracy. And in the year of games that we've had where there's so many fucking good video games, this one, to me, shines at the top of that list. However, people are not happy with this new account linking update. People like Pirate Software, who said, not happening. I'm removing access from Steam players, unless they have a PSN account, and link it months after the release is absurd. Review changed to negative, and I have filed for a refund. And Pirate Software, we don't know, has probably put about 300 hours into this game, so he's not saying this lightly. Now, to the defense of Helldivers 2, this was on their Steam page since their launch 3 months ago. This is actually my screenshot. It says right here, requires third-party account, PlayStation Network, supports linking to Steam account. That was on the page since the release. However, they did not enforce it. Basically like jaywalking. They said you kind of got to do it, but they never got anybody in trouble for not doing it. You could just play it with only a Steam account. And if you go to the FAQ on PlayStation's own website, they would say signing into PSN is optional when playing a PlayStation game on PC. They have since changed this FAQ when they made this update today, and that's why people are not happy. Here's another page where it says, do I need a PSN account to play PlayStation games on PC? No, you do not, currently. Now, they have changed this policy, and they're now saying you got to do it with certain games, including Helldivers 2, which has millions and millions of players. And many people might think like this community manager for Helldivers 2. It's not like this is the first or even the 14th mainstream game to require a third-party account. That takes a couple of minutes to create. But if it's a deal breaker, it's to take 120 seconds out of your day to enter in an email and a password, then forget about it. Change your Steam review and make your displeasure known on a platform where it matters. Okay, that's what they say. Maybe a little bit snippy, but people are bringing up really valid arguments in reply. For example, Sony is not the best company when it comes to keeping your data safe. They get breached about every couple of years. Sony confirms data breach impacting thousands in the US. So I can see why people wouldn't want willingly to give their information to Sony, especially when they could play the game for months without having had to have done that in the past. Like, why do you have to do it now? I don't want to give you my data. But it gets even worse. Because if you Google how many countries are actually available for PSN, the answer is 69. Nice. but there are a lot more countries than 69. These are the current available countries where you can make a PlayStation account. Missing from this list is basically every single country in Africa, with the exception of South Africa, the Baltic nations, all right, our Lithuanias, our Latvias, some of the STAN countries, Kazakhstan. There's a lot of users who play this game who cannot make a PlayStation account, thus cannot play the game legally. Now, you might think, well, how about you just make up an account? But if you look at PlayStation's own rules, they say, well, hey, you have to make an account in the country that you reside in. That's the rule here. And if you don't, we may request identifying documents to prove that you were in that country. And if we suspect that you are not following our terms of service, we might remove or compromise your account. We might ban it altogether. You might lose access to be able to play the game that you paid for altogether. So basically, the only way for a lot of the user base to play the game is if they break the rules that Sony laid out, which is a little bit fucking dumb to me, to have to risk a ban. And they don't enforce that currently, but they also didn't enforce the you have to link a PlayStation account either. Do we really want to risk having to break another rule that Sony might enforce later on? I mean, certain countries like the UK are already implementing verification through ID or facial scan. Now, this is based off UK rules, but what if that country is one that doesn't allow you to make a PlayStation account? There could be some problems here. And this ultimately comes from Sony, who is the publisher in this situation, not the developers of the game. And this is the CEO, Pilestead, part of Arrowhead, the CEO of the company, actually, who said, ouch, right in the review score. Well, I guess it's warranted. Sorry, everyone, for how this all transpired. I hope we'll make it up and regain the trust by providing a great game experience. I just want to make great games. And I feel for this game, because ultimately, they are just the dev. And I say just the dev. They're an amazing dev studio. They made an amazing game. But the publisher is making the calls here. And Sony, the publisher, doesn't give a fuck. They're forcing the hand of their developer to, I don't know, make millions of users link their PlayStation network for what? I don't even know why. I honestly don't even know why. Now, the CEO did reply as far as the concern of people who literally cannot make a PlayStation Network account because Sony does not recognize them on PSN. They said, we're working to discuss a solution for that. But dude, you don't even need to turn on crossplay when you play. This is a thing that I took for my ship song of family values. I do believe in strong family values. You don't need crossplay. You can play it on Steam without playing with PlayStation users, so why the fuck do I need to sign into PlayStation? The answer can only be because Sony sees some value in getting the data of the millions of PC gamers who are not currently linking their PSNs. I don't know what they're trying to do with that data. Maybe get more information for future games or for marketing purposes. I don't know. Look, man, a bunch of people want my fucking data all the time. I can't go on a website without being asked to give you my damn cookies. I don't want to give you my damn cookies, but they ask me every fucking time. But it seems ultimately selfish, and it doesn't seem like it is a value add-on for the player. And this is another lesson in life. If you offer something and then retract it later on, people are just gonna get pissed the fuck off. They just are. And it makes a whole lot of sense if you could do something for free without having to give up your data, and then all of a sudden, 3 months later, hundreds of hours into the game later, you now have to do it. Although it could be easy for some people, especially if you're in the States. You could just link it quickly. That's why we're fucking American, baby. We don't want to have to do it. We didn't have to do it before. And it's our God-given right to complain about that thing happening. Now, we'll see how it shakes down. But I do hope that Sony, due to some public pressure, makes the right call. And I'm curious to see how they'll act. Again, we said at the start of this video, you're about as good as your biggest mistake. I would like to change that. You're about as good as how you respond to your biggest mistake. And I hope they respond well by holding true to how they enforce things in the first 3 months of the game cycle. Anyway, that's the Helldivers 2 drama. That's all I got for you now. There's many other great games out there if you guys want to check them out. If you're a Helldivers 2 enjoyer like Balatro, check out Balatro. I'm a Balatro enjoyer. That's all. See you later. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. See you later. And if you were mad at me for my mogul mail and you never want to watch me again, I get it. I get it. We all make mistakes. Hey, sometimes out of touch. That's how it goes. All right. See you later. Goodbye.
one of the big activists and supporters of the youth on college campuses. In fact, he made his career advocating for college students,
which he wasn't one because big right-wing money guy paid him not to be,
and go around and attempt to organize young people to support Republicans. It's failed miserably, which is why he's moved into media, where he's had, I think, arguably more success. But here he is making a very interesting claim.
That's really what's going on here, and this is a wake-up call for many Jews. And I have sympathy for American Jews that are very confused. However, I have impatience for American Jews that have put up with the anti-white sentiments the last decade and thought it was perfectly fine. Because guess what, American Jews? You're considered white in the eyes of the Marxists. What? I thought white meant like MAGA Christian people in Oklahoma. No. White means you too. Welcome to the most hated class in America today. And Jews...
Pause it for a second. Wait. Now, I just want to weigh in here because I am Jewish and also white. And what he's talking about is complete BS.
We've taken the lead.
It's complete BS. His compatriots, and he knows them well, you know, like the groypers that he's now having to finally cave to. Remember, there was a time where the groypers would show up and they would badger him at his college conferences. And they, of course, were also a big part of his organization. Some people had to get jettisoned because calls were leaked and text exchanges. But those groypers have always been anti-Jew, and he's had to get in there. Now, like he says, he has some sympathy with Jews. But now, you shouldn't have been so anti-white, you Jews, he says.
What is the anti-whiteness that Jews are responsible for?
Enemy UAV active.
I'm hit!
Check, can you hear me? All right, yeah. Loud and clear. Oh, pretty good. No, are you still there? Can you hear me? Okay. Not too much. Yeah, just had a little gathering yesterday and kind of recovering today, cleaning up, and it's like you clean up for a party and then you got to clean up. It was, it was just, like I said, it was just my brother and then this guy Kevin and his girlfriend. It was small, but it's like you still got to clean up the house, and then I grilled for everybody, so... I mean, it was fun, and then it didn't go too late, but started drinking pretty early, so that was an early night. But how about you? Did you end up running around, or? Huh. Nice. It's yeah, sounds like you're in, I don't know. It's like utopia for you. That's great. Hmm. Yeah. Just like holding it down, like, oh yeah, not letting it, like, not burst or. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, true. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's true. The times I've tried them, it didn't seem like I was doing any better or anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and I wasn't even on at all yesterday, so. Daily challenges. Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool if you're okay with that. Doing. Oh. I'm 1 kill away, or.
Look around. Secure the area. Next hard point, stand by. Target area updated. Move to the hard point.
Moving. Cancel.
Bloody fire! Hard point relocating. Stand by.
Watching your six, soldier!
Friendly UAV online. Hard point relocated. Secure the target area. Enemies inside the perimeter.
Trophy system
You're halfway
online.
to mission complete. Finish it. Friendly mosquito deployed. Check fire!
Semtex out.
Next hard point, stand by. Package on the way. Secure the area. Target area updated. Move to the friendly UAV on station.
Bust.
Enemies inside the perimeter.
Move in here. Scratch that.
Hard point relocating. Stand by. Hard point compromised. Secure the area. Hard point relocated. Secure the target area.
What's your bloody fire?
Enemies inside the perimeter.
Got your back. Throwing steps.
Confirming next hard point. Stand UAV online.
Changing mags.
To the hard point. The mission is complete. Good work.
deathmatch. You're clear to engage any and all hostiles in the AO.
With you, Max. Change your max. X-ray spot.
Secured the
Take an
lead.
effective fire. Destroy the target. Sorted that one. Covering your six. Bollocks. Effective fire. I'm reloading. I've got you six.
Friendly UAV on station.
Change your max. Switch your max. Reloading.
He's taking the lead.
Change your max.
Hostiles deployed a mosquito.
I'm taking effective fire. Got your back. Destroy the target.
Hostile counter UAV overhead.
Taking fire.
Hostiles launched a cruise missile.
Destroy the target. Your six.
Friendly counter UAV.
Destroy the target. Taking effective fire.
Friendly SAE on the way.
Tossing frag. Look out. Boss. On your set.
Hostiles deployed a mosquito.
Bullets. Destroy the target.
Hostile counter.
Fire over here. Changing mags. I've got you six. Reload.
Friendly UAV online. 1 minute remaining.
We're on the same side. Push your bloody fire! Taking fire! They're sniping. Field upgrade here.
Seconds remaining. Mission failed. Return to base.
Stand by. Hardpoint compromised. Area.
Slide. Change your mag. Take it effective fire. Took around. Reload.
Confirming next hardpoint. Stand by. Enemy UAV active.
Take it effective fire. Push your bloody fire. Switching mags.
Hostile UAV.
X-ray down. Smoke coming.
Hostile FAE.
Get to cover.
Friendly Mosquito active.
Set your bloody fire. Don't shoot me, you bastard.
Relocating. Stand by. Perimeter. Hardpoint relocating. Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Drag out.
UAV online.
Check your fire.
Enemies inside the perimeter.
Took around.
The mission is half complete. Stay sharp. Friendly UAV on station. Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Friendly care package in the AR. Target area updated. Enemy UAV active. Enemies inside the perimeter. Friendly cruise missile deployed. Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Enemies inside the perimeter.
Trophy system online. On your set your fire. your bloody fire!
Hardpoint relocated.
Taking effective fire! Not this time, you bastard.
Friendly deployed.
Slide.
Half complete. Secure the hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Stun grenade!
Confirming hardpoint. Stand by.
Trophy system out.
Target area updated. Move to the hardpoint. Ready cruise.
Check your bloody fire! Requesting recon fire! Bloody coming!
Enemies deployed to counter UAV. Hostile UAV in the air. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the UAV online. Hardpoint compromised. Area.
Grenade! Look around!
Enemy UAV active. Stand by.
That takes out! Taking effective fire!
Area update. Move to the hardpoint. Ready UAV station. Hostile FAQ position. Hostile Overwatch helo in the area. Enemy destroyed the perimeter.
Taking fire! Check your bloody fire! Fire over here!
Relocating. Stand by. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the compromise. Secure the area. 1 minute remaining.
Taking effective fire! Semtex!
UAV in the area.
Grenade out! Dusted him!
Mission accomplished. Longbow 3-1 flying outbound. For RTB in the sky. Got anything? All shadows. Switch on. Control the target area.
Not going too hot.
Hold it down. We've secured the lead.
Taking rounds. Planting mine.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Enemies inside the perimeter. Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Aiming at me. Inside the Standing by.
Swapping bags. Requesting recon flyover.
Hardpoint. Copy. UAV. Hardpoint. Target area updated. Move to the hardpoint. Enemies inside the perimeter. UAV is being refueled. RTB is
Taking rounds. What the hell? Fucking tastic. Bunch of fresh bag. Watch your fire!
Friendly UAV online.
Semtex. Grenade. Make trophy system active.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Stand by. Enemies inside the perimeter.
Back out.
Hardpoint relocated. Secure the target area.
What's your aim? Swapping back. Watching justice. Under fire.
Friendly cruise missile deployed. Stand by. Area updated. Move to the...
Grenade. Back. Grenade. Move.
Hardpoint compromised. Cruise missile. Enemies inside the perimeter. On the way.
Changing map. Subjects incoming.
Hardpoint relocating. Stand by.
Grenade. Back. Hit for that, mate. Taking rounds. Subjects.
Secure the hardpoint relocated. Secure the surrender area.
Loading. Quick.
Enemies inside the perimeter. Friendly mosquito active. We've lost the lead.
Grenade. Under fire.
Ain't much of a finisher.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area. Confirming next hardpoint. And for enemies inside the perimeter.
Watch your fire. I'm on your side.
Target area updated. Move to the hardpoint compromised. Secure the UAV in the area.
Frag out.
Enemies gaining ground. Push them back.
Sending clear, Mike. Watch your aim.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Grenade.
Hardpoint relocating. Stand by. Inside the perimeter. Destroy them. Hardpoint relocated. Secure the hardpoint.
Man, fucking-tastic. Frag out.
Enemies inside the perimeter.
First mag. Tracking system online. Watch your fire. I'm on your side. Under fire. Grenade. Move. Sending clear, Mike. Grenade.
Next hardpoint.
Dusted him.
Stand by. Enemies inside the perimeter.
Watches your six, soldier. Ready for
Taking red. Watch your aim.
Target area updated.
Fire. I'm on your side.
Hostile Hostile UAV in the area. Compromised. Secure the
Changing
area.
back.
Enemies inside the perimeter.
Swapping backs.
Hardpoint compromised. Secure the area.
Lights up. One down.
Inside the perimeter. Enemy UAV active.
Dusted him. What's your aim? Grenade.
Secure the area. Hostile UAV in the area.
Frag out.
Mission failed. Return to base.
I'm reloading.
I assume it has something to do with what we did to Christ, right? I mean, no. What is it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what anti-whiteness Jews have been involved with. Is he talking about those guys who were killed in Philadelphia, Mississippi, when they were advocating for civil rights? I mean, where have the Jews been anti-white?
3 of the 4 Kent State victims.
I wonder what he's talking about. What have the Jews been doing that have been so anti-white? And I'll tell you something also. The idea of equating anti-Semitism with anti-whiteism, I don't know what anti-whiteism he's been experiencing. But let's continue.
Barbara's doing some anti-whiteism.
Welcome to the most hated class in America today. And Jews are like, wait, I never thought I was white. I don't identify as white.
It occurs to me, pause it for 1 second, I thought anti-white racism was over when we elected a white president. Wasn't that a sign that the anti-white racism was over? I mean, we elected a white president. How much more do these whites want?
Nominated 2 of them last time.
Exactly. God.
And Jews are like, wait, I never thought I was white. I don't identify as white. We're Jewish. You don't get to determine the rules. Many American Jews are shocked that the organizations and the charities that they have been subsidizing want them dead.
Pause it. I also would be shocked if that was the case. I'm not aware of any of those organizations or what he's talking about. I'm not even aware of which ones he's talking about, but B, I'm pretty sure none of them said that we want the Jews dead. I feel like it would be bigger news.
What have evangelical Zionists said about Jewish people? Like, not that they want them dead, but to, I guess.
Well, they want them all to go to Israel and die.
Right.
But first they have to go to Israel. It's conditioned. It's conditioned. That's what the Kufis want. Let's continue.
Charities that they have been subsidizing want them dead.
The enemy's taking the lead.
This is cut 67. I think this is illegal, where they are forbidding Jewish students from going to class.
No.
That Jewish kids are being physically prevented from going to class. And I want to make sure this is clear. At the foundational level, this is at UCLA. This is coast to coast. It's because they hate Western civilization, and they have now looped all Jews into the white category. So now Jews are experiencing the hate that we white people have been experiencing the last decade, and we've been warning against. Hey, you know that there's like a lot of venom against white people because of the color of their skin? Too bad. Floydapalooza, BLM, diversity is our strength. And now all of a sudden Jews are saying, this kind of feels like how we got to Auschwitz. This doesn't seem right.
Pause it for
and
a
I'm
second.
glad they're waiting.
I just want to make it clear that nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying what he's saying that Jews are making. Every time you fill out one of those census forms as to what your race is, there is no slot for Jews. They have all been putting white on that, unless they were also a different color or a person of color or something to that effect. Everything he's saying, both the premise and the payoff, is a lie. It's just a lie.
And projection, they talk about Israel as an outpost of Western civilization. Like when you see people say, Barnaby Rain, he's lecturing at Columbia now, is at Navarre Media, pointed out early on that when he was knocking doors for Corbyn, he got a guy saying, I don't support Jeremy Corbyn, but he's anti-Semitic, and he also lets in too many foreigners. Right. And it's like, that's because the right wing, they're incorporating Israel into a Western sort of West versus everyone else Manichaean worldview.
Now all of a sudden Jews are saying, this kind of feels like how we got to Auschwitz. No, this doesn't seem right. And I'm glad they're waking up. And it is how you get to mass murder. It is how you get to elimination. by hating one group, by sectarianism and tribalism. And the reason why this is breaking the matrix is that for years, it was fashionable and acceptable to hate white people. It's not as fashionable and acceptable to hate Jews. But if you call Jews white, are you then able to hate Jews?
Pause it. I just want to be clear that the white genocide never happened. And the non-white only country clubs or the quotas for white people at universities or any of those things never, ever, ever happened. They're not happening. They've never happened.
Yeah, I'm a white guy who participated in, say, the Black Lives Matter marches and didn't really see it as this is an attack on me as a person. Because
It was so nice of them to let you do that. I mean, being white. Yeah, token white. Go ahead.
Oh, then that's all.
Oh, that's it right there. Charlie Kirk managing to hitting both things. Like, just want to make it clear, you Jews aren't really white. You're not really white, but now you know what it feels like to be white.
And you kind of have this coming.
And this is what you get. But I do have sympathy for you.
Oh, yeah, only some, though. Only some sympathy.
This is it's like, how can I have my racism and my anti-Semitism and eat it too? That's what it is.
And still attack the left.
It's fantastic. It's well done.
It's every mark.
Dan from SoCal. Charlie Kirk is having the time of his life with this segment. He just can't wait to the part where it's okay to openly hate Jews.
He's done this segment about 7 times in the past month.
Yeah. Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Inside of every anti-trans person's brain are worms. Writhing, shrieking, suckling worms, little larva reverse Jiminy Cricket shoulder devil freaks whispering stuff like, "See that woman? You should tell her about sissy hypno videos. Hey, let's run into that daycare and scream about autogynephilia and yaks wounds, to protect the kids. Joey. Been 6 minutes since you tweeted about trans people. We should deny some atrocities just for the giggles. It's a sex-based right to have a little treat. Probably a man, huh? Nice dress, sugar. At least this bathroom sign knows what a woman is. Trans people. This is why you'll often see anti-trans people or TERFs or gender criticals complaining about how people at work won't sit near them, or whining that friends aren't texting them back anymore. Their kids don't call, and their spouses have left them. And there's one shining example of this self-induced isolation, one perfect embodiment of this phenomenon, distilled down into one single adult ogre male. Graham Linehan. On Twitter, he goes by Glinner, but in his colleagues, friends, and family's phones, he goes by Blocked Caller Spam. On Christmas morning of 2019, at 1 a.m., Graham was angrily sliding into trans people's replies. The day before, my Pokemon mentor, Katie Montgomery, had mentioned that the LGB Alliance was a hate group, and Graham couldn't let it go. Laying there, seething, coping, rabid, and foaming at the mouth, he summoned up all his skills as a writer to fire off one of his wittiest retorts to date.
1 a.m., Christmas morning. You're the hate group, Katie.
Known hate group. Katie, you know, I've been hearing very disturbing things about the folks down at Keeple for the ethical treatment of animals. But Graham isn't just a transphobe who calls trans people slurs and tries to silence them. He's also a misogynist who routinely calls women slurs and tries to silence them. And then like a homophobe who routinely calls gay people slurs and tries to silence them. And a racist who does digital blackface and is a serial harasser and an online stalker. But worst of all, he's fucking cringe. Hello?
We're supposed to be recording a podcast right now, stupid.
I can't. I have people over and I'm busy talking shit about a piece of crap.
Okay, start recording then. That's our whole podcast.
But our podcast is about dead people and it's Graham Linehan. And while he's like definitely like decaying, he's not technically dead yet.
I mean, his marriage is.
No, okay. I'm cashing in my one alive transphobe ticket for this year then. Last year's was Joanne's legacy and this year can be Graham's career.
Yeah, and his marriage.
Okay, hold on. Let me put you on speakerphone.
Are you recording?
Yeah. Welcome back to Respect the Dead, the podcast where we don't.
Can we give it a special episode subtitle since he's not dead?
Yeah. Welcome back to Respect the Divorced, the podcast where he is and we're not, and that's like super funny.
Sweaty, it's no surprise. Sweaty, it's a matter of course that everyone celebrated your divorce, and now you lost it all in court. But don't you worry your melting head as you lay in your race car bed. Your career is totally dead. The words in your brain making you go insane. Everything's going south 'cause you couldn't keep trans people out of your mouth. Just couldn't keep us out of your mouth. Just couldn't keep us out of your mouth.
First off, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve has 24/7 customer service, 90-day no-hassle returns, and discreet shipping. And with code Kaylin, that's me, you get 50% off one item and free shipping in the US and Canada and free rush processing. Adam and Eve has everything you could ever hope to use to make your solo or partner time a little spicier. They've got something for every sex, gender, and possible partner pairing. By the way, I hope I'm allowed to use my own discount code because I have like 4 things in my cart right now that I know are gonna like change my life. Are you gonna use code Kaylin to buy something cute for yourself, Hoots?
Obviously.
Okay, cute. I love that for us.
Me too. Friends who share sex toys together. Wait, nope.
Well, not
us.
no. Yeah, not no, but not us. Okay, what do you know about this man? Because I've deliberately not shared any of the fucking ridiculous stuff that I've been adding into my notes.
I know that he was, I believe, the showrunner of a television show in the UK and Ireland.
Father Ted.
Yes, which I never watched, but it was a big deal. I know that he kind of looks like you took like a Shrek doll and like put it inside of a Cupid doll and like left it in the microwave for like on like 30 seconds on high for 30 seconds. And I know that he has dedicated his entire life to transphobia. And because of that, his wife left him, and I believe his family, like some of his family will talk.
So I'm not sure about the last part. He has said they took my family. So I'm assuming that maybe the kids don't answer the phone when he calls, but like, who knows? I don't want to like talk too much about his children per se. So that's all correct. But it's so much. And like losing your entire family because you hate trans people should be like the most pathetic thing about you. But he's also terminally online, which is so much sadder when you're like, I don't know, 70 years old. Like,
yeah, I was about to say same, but like I'm allowed to be on Twitter because I'm 55.
Yeah, he should not be allowed on Twitter. Both
Twice
because
my
he's
age.
too old and
back to Facebook.
too unhinged. Yeah.
Go back to Facebook where you belong.
Obviously, I'm gonna get people commenting that I didn't mention a specific thing. But I obviously can't cover everything disgusting or terrible or misogynistic or perverted or cringe he's ever done because YouTube only lets you upload up to like 12-hour videos. So I figured I would just make a little slice of life and we'll focus on how he destroyed his own.
If you made me sit here for 12 hours and listen to you talk about this man, we would be doing an episode about the death of our motherfucking friendship.
And that would be fair. So we're gonna laser focus on why his peers, his agent, his family, and everyone else left him. We're digging into how being an angry, obsessed, anti-trans monster has cost him everything. And how I think that's kind of really cute. Not the anti-trans part, just the fact that like everything.
There are consequences for actions?
Yeah, oh my God, surprise. He loved sewing. Wait, reaping?
Not reaping.
No, he right.
He really doesn't
hated
like reaping. Love sewing.
Big fan of sewing. So last week I read Graham's book. It's called Tough Crowd, How I Made and Lost a Career in Comedy, which details exactly that. And it's the cope right in the title. It was like Graham Linehan, I used to be successful. His short-lived success and then eventual long-lived and seemingly permanent failure is like perfectly encapsulated in this book. And it's really funny because there's so many quotes where like he should realize how bad it makes him look, but it doesn't because gender critical
No
people,
self-awareness.
no, literally none. Failing the mirror test. I bet if I put a mirror somewhere in his house that he didn't expect, if he walked past it, he would fucking slap it or something. He would run into it. If I painted like a...
He would be like, oh no, a trans-identified male. They're in my walls.
They're in my walls. Okay, that is just a little bit terrifying because I don't want anybody in my walls. But if any trans people don't have a place to stay, and it has to be in my walls, you're more than welcome.
You're such an ally.
I know, thank you. So his book sort of reads like Elliot Rodgers' manifesto.
Oh no.
There's a lot of like just like bitter ramblings, a lot of telling stories that make him look objectively fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But he tells
no
them as if it makes him look good, or at least didn't need to be included, but he includes it anyways. And like Elliot's was like, what, My Twisted World or something? Graham's is like,
My Twisted Marriage.
How I made and lost my family and career and respect and cheese grater and Steam account because I couldn't stop talking about trans people for 3 seconds.
We'll get to him losing his cheese grater and Steam account in the divorce.
Oh, so those weren't just little bits that you, I thought you just like, I thought you were just like garnishing the joke.
No.
Oh my God.
This man's life is so fucking sad.
Wait, a cheese grater?
Yeah.
I'll let you tell your story.
So his book, his memoir, his magnum opus, combining pre-sales and his opening week, sold 390 copies. For comparison, Sean Faye's transgender issue sold 4,000 copies in that same period. So not even the gender critical people are buying his book.
I'm pretty sure like Raylo fanfic self-published on Amazon have had better sales in that period.
Well, the thing is, people care about Star Wars. Nobody cares
It's
about
true.
Graham.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna retweet something hateful that you've said, but I don't want to read your words. I don't want to be sad.
I don't care about your sad life. Like, oh my God, I would love to buy your book. I would love to buy your book. The problem is I don't like being depressed. And in order for me to really connect with it, I would need to be capable of empathy. And as a gender critical person, I don't identify with empathy. No pronouns, no empathy.
I love that, like, I mean, like, this is a crowd that absolutely would and has purchased books, like,
yeah, but they don't read them.
Just to, yeah, I mean, they've never read a book. But
No,
this is
never.
absolutely the kind of crowd that purchases books just to, like, be able to post pictures of it on social media and be like, look, I have the hateful literature. And even then, they wouldn't buy his book.
Yeah, like that white supremacist arsonist who, like, burned down those churches. Who commented under J.K. Rowling's tweet and was like, thank you, ma'am. Now that I know you're not woke, I bought all your books for my kids. Arsonists love fucking Joanne Rowling. So prior to his days lumbering around Twitter, harassing feminists and LGBTQ plus people, he co-wrote 2 shows that garnered him like his main fame at the time, Father Ted and the IT Crowd. I thought Father Ted was funny. I watched DVDs of it at my father's house, not named Ted, no relation. And I like thought they were funny at the time. I will say he wasn't the only writer, but I was also like 15.
Yeah, and I mean, he was the showrunner, right? Like he came up with the idea, and he was like probably the head of the writers' room.
I think it was according to the book, it felt like more of a partnership. Between him and someone else,
and one other person.
Yeah, and then he had someone who was more of a showrunner who was like sort of being like, okay, we need to not do that, or I like that idea, but like take it farther or whatever. Right. And he attributes, I don't remember this man's name, but he attributes quite a lot of the like best decisions in the show to someone else.
Right.
So like, honestly, he could have been replaced with ChatGPT probably. And has been.
I will give credit where credit is due. A lot of people like Father Ted. So you did.
I do believe it was genuinely funny. There's just no reason for me to go back and rewatch it when there's like every second trans person on Twitter has a way funnier account than anything that's ever happened in Father Ted. So Graham's the kind of person to hold a grudge, like a real grudge. As anyone who goes on his Twitter can clearly see. He will find one specific trans person and he will post about them like at least once a day, if not every other day. Katie Montgomery gets like the most from him. And she's like the most chill, reasonable trans person on Twitter. Like she's so like reserved in all of her takes, and I think that's part of what pisses him off.
That pisses him off.
Yeah, like I'll be like, shut your bobble-headed little mouth and get back in your cage. And he won't respond to me again after that. But Katie is like level-headed and has like cogent arguments and doesn't resort to insults.
She comes
and I
at him
think that
with good
pisses
faith.
him off.
Yeah,
and I think that's especially what pisses him off because he realizes how bad it's making him look.
Right, it gets under his skin. Can I just say, holding a grudge, like also not a very good quality for someone working in the arts.
We're gonna get to that. So, about his grudges. He is constantly going after women, particularly feminists, but anyone that just doesn't agree with gender critical ideology. Any woman who